Sue is shown at the start of the film who is thinking about superpowers and she wants to get superpowers. So everyone can notice her. Sue's father says she is special and this is her quality that none notices her. She is special and is like a secret agent. Sue's mother is a scientist and she goes to her mother's lab to give her a surprise on her birthday. An important meeting of scientists was going on in the lab. She reaches the lab with her father while taking cake and candles. Sue erases the important formulas and writes happy birthday on the board. The fire alarm goes on as the candles are lit here. Sue's mother who is in a lab in the meeting comes to Sue. Sue and her father say happy birthday while seeing her coming. Sue's mother becomes furious instead of being happy. Sue's father says this was his idea. There isn't any mistake of Sue and they become angry. Sue becomes worried because of this and throws the car far in anger. Cake hits with a system in the lab. The lab's system gets damaged because of it. Sue runs outside while seeing this. The doors were locked meanwhile, there was a blast and a blue liquid falls on Sue. The doctor is shown doing a bandage on Sue's wrist. Sue's father takes her home and the next day, Sue vomits when she awakes. She finds a blue mark on her wrist. Sue feels some changes in her body. She doesn't tell this to her father, while thinking he will be worried. Later, Sue goes to school and opens her cupboard while reaching school. She discovers the party posters and her friend Toby approaches her while she is looking at the posters. Toby is the schoolmate of Sue and also a good bike rider. Reaching there, Toby starts talking to Sue. A famous girl from their school comes there. She invites Toby to her home to a party. Something happens that makes everyone shocked. Sue becomes invisible while standing between them. Eileen and Toby become worried seeing Sue becoming invisible. Being worried about all this, Sue goes to her mother. Her mother becomes worried seeing her like this. She takes her home and gives her soup. After some time Sue again becomes invisible. She was again visible when she opens the fridge for taking something. Sue's mother assumes that the heat makes Sue invisible. Sue becomes visible with a normal temperature. It means now everyone can see her. Sue's mother checks her and discovers a liquid fell on Sue, and this is because of it. Because of it, Sue becomes visible and often invisible. Sue's mother gives her a device to test. Sue's body was getting hot because of the device and she again becomes invisible. They discover after becoming invisible the human will disappear whom Sue will touch. Sue's mother asks her friend Lenia to hold Sue's hand when she will be invisible. Doing this, Lenia also becomes invisible. This was a surprising thing. Lenia becomes happy with this sudden experiment. Sue's mother asks her to stay at home, but Sue goes to school while ignoring her. Reaching school, she sees Toby. He was doing bike riding and Toby comes to Sue. He asks her the reason to disappear yesterday. Eileen again comes between them. During this, her phone rings, and she leaves from there. There wasn't any call but this was App controlling Eileen's phone. App was a toolmaster girl of their school. She was also Sue's friend and a scientist sees a video of Sue when she becomes invisible. He asks his assistant to save this video from others. Sue goes to a restaurant and her friend App also comes there. Sue says App, I want to share a secret with you, and tells I can be invisible if I want to. Her friend App takes this as fun. When Eileen discovers her phone was controlled by App, she comes to the restaurant and misbehaves with App. Sue makes herself invisible after having coffee. She irritates Eileen there. Eileen runs from that restaurant. App becomes shocked seeing Sue becoming invisible. Sue is shown moving with her mother. She tells her mother how she teased Eileen in the restaurant. Sue sleeps in the car during this. Sue's mother was about to awake her, but someone kidnapped her mother and Sue wakes after hearing her mother's voice. She couldn't save her mother. She goes to Toby's house for taking help. Toby was doing cycling in his house. He gets shocked seeing Sue in his house. He asks the reason from Sue and tells him about her mother's kidnapping. Toby asks her they should complain to the police. But Sue forbids Toby to do this. Later, Toby serves Sue a hot tea. Sue becomes invisible after having it. Toby gets shocked when he sees Sue isn't here. Sue tells Toby about the incident that happened to her. Sue goes with Toby to the kidnapping place the next morning. Because she wanted to take her mother's bag from the car. The kidnappers arrive there and take them to a place while trapping them. App saves them, and Sue says this must be the lab where kidnappers have placed her mother. Sue gets heat up because of her mother's device. She becomes invisible and asks Toby to hold her hand. Toby also becomes invisible while holding Sue's hand. Toby and Sue go inside the lab and Toby collapses with a lady. He becomes visible, and then everyone knows that Sue is inside the lab. The workers start finding them. Sue and Toby go to a room and they find a bag there. App asks them to leave immediately. Toby and Sue leave successfully, but Toby gets hurt while leaving the door. His nose starts bleeding. The workers were also behind them because of being collapsed with the door. App asks Toby to run a machine-like bike. Toby says, "How I can drive it?" App says, "Just think that this is bike riding." They successfully run from there. Later, App takes them to her aunt's home. Sue discovers App's aunt was her mother's friend. They start fighting during making a special fluid. Toby finds a bag from the lab and it was from Sue's mother. A program turns on from her bag and it knows Sue. This was designed by Sue's mother. Only Sue's family can unlock this program. This program tells Sue that fluid oxygen has affected her blood. Before it, this fluid was injected by her mother into her body. This didn't affect her mother and this fluid just worked on Sue's body. Many incredible fluids can be made by Sue's blood. That is why Sue has danger from kidnappers. Toby says the kidnappers need Sue, that's why they have kidnapped your mother. So they can reach you. Someone tries to kidnap Sue at night when she was sleeping. But Toby was sleeping on her bed. That's why Toby attacks the kidnapper. Sue escapes from kidnapping. App makes a costume for Sue and it was like superhero. Sue likes the costume because she always wanted to be a superhero. They have breakfast in the morning and Sue receives a call from her mother. She tells her she has escaped from kidnappers, but it's important for her to meet Sue. She calls Sue to meet in a building. Sue goes to the building to meet her mother with her friends. But the kidnappers trap them. Toby feels Sue's mother is trapping them. Sue becomes furious hearing this. Sue and Toby fight. Toby leaves in anger. Sue and App sit in the building secretly. App makes a blast there due to an explosion. Sue is shown on her bed sleeping in the next scene. Sue awakes and her mother was sitting in front of her. Sue asks her about her friends. Sue's mother says she hasn't any friends like App. There isn't any fluid in her body. She says maybe you've seen a dream. She tells there is a boy's call. Hearing this, Sue says there must be Toby's call. He must be asking to go to the party. Hearing this, her mother leaves, while locking her there. It discovers in the next scene, Sue's mother wasn't her mother in real, she was her mother's friend Lenia who has prepared a liquid from Sue's blood. With its help, she can take anyone's jet up. Now she wants to inject the fluid into Toby's body. Toby and her mother go to her room and Sue asks her mother to unlock the program. She unlocks the program and Sue says, "You are my real mother." Sue's mother asks her about it, but she asks her to see the program. Sue's mother sees Lenia in the program. Sue tells her mother Lenia is behind Toby and she wants to inject the fluid into Toby's body. Lenia goes to the party as Eileen. App and Sue also reach the party with her mother. Sue's mother gives her an antidote. She will inject it into Lenia's body and Sue tells Toby Eileen isn't Eileen, but she is Lenia. She wants to inject the fluid into you. Toby ignores what Sue said because he was angry with her. Sue apologizes to Toby, but then Lenia holds Toby. She says to Sue she is more powerful than her, and Sue makes her body temperature high with her mother's device. She becomes invisible at the party. She puts the antidote in her body, being invisible. Now she was in her real jet, it means Lenia. She gets faint. Sue and her friend discover leaving the party that App's aunt hired Lenia. She wanted to make a fluid with Sue's blood, so she can cure herself and will be able to stand on her feet. Seeing this, Sue injects the antidote. Sue fixes an explosion on her wheelchair when App's aunt comes near her. It pushes her backward. She gets faint. Sue is shown in her room in the next scene. She awakes and her parents were sitting in front of her. Sue writes in her diary that she has special parents in the world. Then Sue goes to meet her friends and they were standing on a bridge. They say in a loud voice that we are perfect. With it, the movie finally ends here. Thanks for watching.